Tonight, we're doing something a little different. We're embarking on a deep dive into a really unusual source.
Hmm.
It's not a policy paper, not a forecast, but a guided visualization.
Right.
Specifically, it's this incredibly detailed sleep story called The Midnight Train to Restful Sleep.
Uh-huh.
And if you're thinking, soft music and someone just saying, breathe,
Think again.
yeah, that's not what this is.
Exactly. We're treating the source material less like entertainment and more like, well, like an engineering
An
diagram.
engineering diagram, I like that.
Yeah, this script is a precisely calibrated blueprint for psychological deactivation. So our mission tonight is to reverse engineer it.
Okay.
We're looking at this as a masterclass in using narrative and very specific sensory cues to get to a non-anxious state. It's a kind of pathway that bypasses the rational mind.
In essence, we're studying how to turn off what the source itself calls the bright buzzing screen of awareness, which is just a perfect description.
It really is.
The whole thing takes you on this imaginary, completely effort-free train journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it transitions you from that state of, constant daily vigilance.
It's that operational readiness we all carry around.
Right. And it moves you into a state of deep restorative rest.
And, when you're dealing with high levels of information anxiety, decision fatigue, just being told to unwind doesn't cut it. It just doesn't work.
No, it's almost insulting.
It is. The modern hypervigilant brain, it needs a more complex, a more credible mechanism for surrender. And this train visualization provides that mechanism.
So it's a substitute.
It substitutes the internal chaos, that endless loop of tasks, with an external, predictable, and profoundly comforting constancy.
That distinction right there, substituting internal chaos with external constancy, that feels like the key to the whole thing.
It is. It's a trick the brain is happy to fall for.
So we want to understand, step by step, how the writer uses detail and rhythm to make that trade just irresistible.
And we also need to look at the neurological shifts happening here. Because this isn't just a story. It's designed to downregulate the sympathetic nervous system.
It's fight or flight.
Exactly. And to usher the mind from that high-frequency beta wave state of problem-solving and alertness into the slower, relaxed alpha and then theta wave states, which are, essential for falling asleep.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start exactly where the listener is.
Yeah.
So the first step in this whole psychological journey, it seems like the most critical one. It's acknowledging the starting point.
Absolutely.
Because if the visualization starts too abruptly, your rational mind just rejects it. It feels fake.
It does.
So the script begins precisely where you are, lying down. And the body is described as slowly remembering what it feels like not to rush or scroll or respond.
And that initial validation is the psychological anchor. It ensures buy-in.
It's like it's speaking directly to your tired nervous system.
It is. And by describing the body remembering, the narrator externalizes the effort. You don't have to try to relax. So it's happening to you.
Exactly. Your body's already starting the process on its own, and that reduces that performance anxiety so many of us have around sleep.
And then, crucially, the narrator grounds the experience. They draw your focus to these immediate, usually ignored sensory cues in your own room. It guides your attention to the quiet hum of the room, the gentle vibration of distant traffic, the soft buzz of electronics on standby.
Yeah, the faint whisper of the air conditioning.
Right. All these tiny sounds.
And that focus on subtle ambient noise is tactical. It's very deliberate.
How so?
Well, when your mind is in that high state of vigilance, it filters out these predictable, non-threatening sounds.
You just don't hear them.
Right. So by forcing you to become hyper-aware of the soft buzz of electronics, the script temporarily redirects your cognitive load.
So instead of thinking, did I send that email, or what about tomorrow's meeting?
Exactly. Instead of those complex problems, your brain is now busy parsing simple, repetitive, non-stressful sensory data. It's a really clever form of cognitive hijacking. You're replacing this high-stakes internal monologue with low-stakes environmental observation.
That's a great way to put it.
It turns your mundane bedroom into what psychologists call a liminal space, a place of transition. You're neither fully awake nor asleep.
And that's the essence of the transition. The mind needs a clean break, but it can't handle an abrupt one.
So you've paused the analytical machine.
Yes. And now we can introduce the next stage, which has to feel completely seamless.
Which brings us to that seamless metaphorical shift.
Mm-hmm.
The source says this transformation has to feel as natural as breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the physical reality of your bed is maintained, but it's transformed.
And the transformation is handled so carefully. The bed becomes a seat on a train, the mattress reshapes into a wide padded bench, the wall opens into cool glass.
I noticed that language. It's not violent. It's not like things are being demolished.
No, which would trigger a threat response. It simply evolves.
And the psychological framing here is perfect for the modern mind, the multitasking mind. It's described as being like switching from one tab to another.
Yes.
Closing the tab with all your worries and opening the one for rest.
That digital analogy is key for people who suffer from constant partial attention, CPA.
Which is pretty much everyone now.
It's endemic, yeah. CPA means you're always monitoring the periphery for new information, for new demands. So by framing this as a simple, low-effort tab close, the script simplifies a really profound neurological transition moving from beta waves to alpha waves into a familiar, safe digital action.
It gives you permission to just minimize the day's tasks.
Without the pressure to permanently delete or solve them, they're just temporarily inactive.
Minimize, not eliminated. That's the permission slip you need.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we've successfully boarded this imaginary train. The environment itself has to be engineered for maximum safety.
Which means minimizing both social and logistical anxiety.
Right, so you have to analyze what's not there.
Yes. Think about the real-world stressors of travel. Crowds, logistics, loud announcements, the pressure of time.
None of that is here.
The station is a quiet platform, washed in soft, faded light. It says it's reminiscent of aesthetic night photography posts. It's beautiful, but profoundly still.
And the aesthetics, the pale golden lamps, the hints of neon mist like pixels in slow motion, that all sets a visual quietness.
But the critical components are the negative space elements. It says, crucially, no crowds, no rushing, no announcements calling your name.
That removal of social demand is huge. In today's world, social interaction often means performance, right? Or judgment.
A lot of monitoring. By explicitly stating the station is empty, the script removes the need for social engagement. And by removing announcements, it removes the demand for compliance. No one is telling you what to do.
That absence of demand is just a profound relief.
It is.
And then the compartment itself minimizes mental effort even further. You're described as being already seated.
So it bypasses the entire cognitive load of finding a seat, arranging luggage, all of that.
Your brain's executive function, the planner, is basically told everything's handled.
And that prevents that immediate spike of cortisol that comes with starting a new task. Then the comfort points are hyper-detailed to help you physically surrender.
Like the gentle fabric, the supportive headrests.
Your feet resting comfortably, your hands finding a natural place. These tactile cues interrupt the body's tendency to hold tension, especially in the neck and shoulders.
And then there's the masterful use of lighting. The overhead lights are warm, golden, and dim. And it says they are the exact opposite of harsh blue screens.
Which is a direct acknowledgement of our modern light-based anxiety and the disruption of our circadian rhythms.
Blue light means daytime, alertness.
And warm golden light signals safety in night. This light is just bright enough to outline the cozy shapes, providing visual security without stimulating the eye.
Or suppressing melatonin.
Right. And the inclusion of curtains for optional darkness that reinforces your ultimate control over your own environment, which is, in itself, a powerful tool against anxiety.
Okay, so we're seated, we're safe, we're in this soft light. Now the mechanism of the journey takes over. It's all about rhythm.
Yes.
The sound component is minimal, but constant. The train is almost silent, but there's a low, continuous hum. A deep, soothing note played forever.
That low, continuous hum is the auditory anchor, and its frequency is crucial.
What do you mean?
Well, low-frequency sounds, especially repetitive ones, have a measurable impact on the central nervous system. They activate the vagus nerve.
The one that runs from the brainstem to the abdomen.
It's responsible for regulating our parasympathetic responses, the rest and digest mode.
So the sound isn't just pleasant. It's a direct physiological signal to your brainstem that the environment is stable and predictable.
Which allows the fight or flight response to stand down. It's basically white noise, but framed romantically as the train's pulse.
And then the technique links this external sound directly to your body's most basic rhythm.
Yeah.
Breathing.
Yes. The listener's breath naturally starts to match the train's rhythm, in and out, in and out.
That's biofeedback, but achieved passively.
Exactly.
Instead of you having to consciously count and slow your breathing, which can actually cause more anxiety.
Yes, it can be frustrating.
The external world, the train's rhythm, it takes on that regulatory role. Your body just mirrors the steadiness, reinforcing that core theme of effortlessness.
And that idea of effortlessness is immediately extended to the movement. The Sorth emphasizes no steering, no decisions, no navigation.
The departure is slow, gentle, unnoticeable. It says no screech, no jolt.
Right. A calm, steady push forward. It minimizes any sudden vestibular input that might trigger alertness.
But if you're telling someone, who's probably a type A, high-achieving person, that they have to surrender all control, doesn't that risk triggering anxiety?
That's a great point. It's a key tension the script has to resolve.
So how does it do it?
Through authoritative reassurance. The psychological relief is delivered explicitly. The train already knows exactly where to go. This is the verbal granting of permission to shed the burden of decisional responsibility. The brain's executive function, which is exhausted by thousands of microdecisions all day, is told, your task is done. This external mechanism is trustworthy.
And the trust is built not just on the words, but on that rhythmic constancy we just talked about.
Exactly. The reliability of the hum makes the claim believable, and the outside visuals support this surrender. The platform lamps drift by like lazy comets, stretching into soft, glowing lines.
So the visual effect is that as speed increases, details blur.
And that gradual loss of sharp definition is a visual proxy for the mind letting go of sharp cognitive focus. When the world is a blur, the brain finds less to analyze, less to categorize, and therefore less to worry about.
Then we transition through the city outskirts. And the visualization has to maintain this proximity to human life to avoid that isolation anxiety.
Right, you don't want to feel completely alone.
So we see wet sidewalks shining, a convenience store glowing like a friendly beacon, apartment windows with warm squares of light. They're familiar, cozy sights.
It creates the perfect vantage point. You're the observer, not the participant.
Cognitive distancing.
Achieved through physical separation. And critically, the city is muted and calm. No honking cars, no rushing crowds. Life is happening, but it's far enough away that you don't have to engage with it.
It's the ultimate feeling of checking out.
Exactly. Without having left society entirely.
And right after this, the script introduces a purely hypnotic element. The focus on the train window collecting moisture.
Yes, the tiny droplets sliding lazily down.
Turning the lights outside into dreamy watercolor streaks.
This is a small, predictable visual loop. It's a fractal pattern, which is inherently mesmerizing. It occupies the visual cortex without requiring you to process any meaning.
But then the writer attaches the brilliant analogy to it.
Yes. Each drop is a tiny fragment of the day sliding down and away, leaving your awareness clearer, smoother, calmer.
That is direct metaphorical disposal of anxiety. By linking the visual movement of the water to the dissipation of worries, it leverages the brain's capacity for substitution. You're not fighting thoughts. You're just watching water carry your worries away.
It externalizes the whole cleaning process.
Then the final element in this section is the detailed physical comfort. The temperature is perfect. The fabric feels like a mix of a favorite hoodie and a freshly made bed.
Familiar, clean, soft. It's targeting comfort memory, using familiarity to reduce any anxiety about novelty.
The favorite hoodie analogy implies this non-judgmental comfort, like you're completely accepted and unobserved.
And then the invitation to recline further.
Yeah.
Approaching that perfect angle between sitting and lying down like a quiet airport lounge.
But without the announcements.
Right. It's the optimal position for surrender. It's a hybrid posture, not fully prone, which can sometimes make people feel vulnerable, but it's supported enough to release all the muscular effort of sitting upright.
A physical expression of the mind's liminal state.
Exactly. Ready to transition.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Having achieved this passive relaxation, the script now initiates a gentle exploration, which feels like the writer's way of preventing your mind from just stagnating.
And starting to cycle on its own worries again.
Exactly. By moving you through this controlled, sequential, safe sensory experience, it maintains your engagement, but it's only sensory, not cognitive.
And the movement itself is described as effortless. You simply imagine standing and walking. So we shift from passive acceptance to this gentle, non-demanding mental activity.
So the exploration is a distraction that feels productive, but requires no actual decisions.
The ultimate low-effort activity.
Okay, let's analyze the function of these environments, starting with Carriage 1, the night library.
Right.
The atmosphere is defined by low wooden shelves, curving softly, filled with books whose titles, and this is the important part, do not need to be read.
That phrase is the key psychological function. It's the comfort of untapped potential.
Say more about that.
In our hyperproductive world, Books represent tasks, right? Knowledge acquisition and often inadequacy. The feeling that we should be reading more.
So a library normally demands intellectual effort.
Yes. But this library removes the demand. The potential for knowledge is there. A deep, comforting reservoir represented by these muted covers of navy and ivory, but it requires absolutely nothing from you.
It's an information-rich environment that demands zero input.
It's the ultimate psychological safe space for the overachiever. You're surrounded by potential, but you're given explicit permission to rest.
And the visuals support that. The ceiling is darker, with tiny lights like a private constellation. It's visually arresting, but totally passive.
And the management of social presence here is brilliant. There are cozy armchairs, and some are holding sleeping passengers, but they are described as reassuring rather than distracting.
So they provide social proof that rest is possible.
Yes, but because they're asleep, there's no threat of interaction, no need for eye contact or conversation. It reinforces the private nature of the journey.
And the sensory detail, the air smelling of paper and wood and clean fabric that just taps into this deep-seated nostalgic comfort.
It adds another layer of security.
I wonder if the silence of the books is actually a form of sensory deprivation for someone who's overstimulated all day.
Oh, absolutely. The silence of the books is a relief from the overwhelming noise of modern media podcasts, news alerts, social feeds. It's a structured silence.
Okay, moving on. Carriage 2. The greenhouse car. This is a dramatic shift from intellectual comfort to pure biophilic immersion.
Yeah, a piece of an enchanted forest collected by the train.
It immediately shifts the focus from the human-made world of a library to the natural world.
And research into biophilia, our innate connection to nature, shows that just viewing natural elements reduces stress hormones like cortisol. But again, the environment is controlled.
It's nature, but it's sanitized and safe. No bugs, no cold.
Right. The visuals are rich but gentle. Tall ferns arching, moss glowing imperceptibly, leaves trembling slightly with the train's motion. The movement is now an organic, living lullaby.
The goal here seems to be physical release.
Yes, and the focus shifts to the auditory environment to achieve that. There's a small fountain, a simple bowl, with water spilling in a constant, slow trickle.
The sound of moving water. That's a near universal soother.
It's predictable, it masks other sounds, and it holds your attention in a very passive way. It's different from the train's hum.
The train hum is about motion and continuity. The water is about
Fluid, effortless release. And the script makes the physiological effect explicit right here. This is the moment where your shoulders are invited to slide down, your jaw to untie.
tension dissolving like mist.
It uses that soft, restorative imagery of nature to suggest that tension can naturally melt away, like ice, without you having to force it.
And finally, we get to Carriage 3, the observatory car. This feels like the grand philosophical finale of the whole exploration.
It's dimmer, wide windows, arched glass ceiling.
Yeah.
The movie is the sky itself.
This carriage seems designed to deal with cognitive clutter by invoking, the scale of the infinite.
That's a perfect way to describe it. The goal is to maximize your visual field and minimize physical effort. The seating is fully supportive, reclined chairs. It's a full sensory flood of non-demanding stimulus.
The focus is the slow movement of constellations.
Mm-hmm.
And the darkness feels rich and welcoming, not empty.
Right. It's reframing darkness not as a void, but as a source of quiet possibility.
So this is tapping into the psychology of awe.
And sublimity, yes. When you're faced with something that vast and slow and incomprehensible like the cosmos, your sense of self, your ego, it shrinks. Your immediate concerns are reduced in relative importance.
So the vastness of the cosmos makes the unread email seem appropriately small.
Precisely. It's cognitive defragmentation through awe, and the script enhances this with that subtle visual. The thin bands of luminous color appearing, the faint auroras shifting with impossible slowness.
That slowness is key, isn't it?
It's everything. Your brain is presented with beauty that demands absolutely no intellectual analysis, no interpretation, no urgency.
The function is explicit, allowing thoughts to drift further apart, becoming lighter, smaller.
You're just invited to exist in the face of vastness. The aim is not to interpret or remember, but simply to let your mind float.
So by the time we leave the observatory car, the listener has been thoroughly divorced from their immediate stressors.
Intellectual pressure, physical tension, and cognitive clutter, all addressed one by one. So having successfully achieved detachment, the script now has to guide you back into a state of full physical rest.
Right, without re-engaging the analytical mind. The transition has to be just as gentle as the departure.
And the walk back is described as floating. Your steps feel lighter in your mind. Re-entering the compartment provides this immediate comfort.
The seat welcomes you like an old friend. The environment is personified as being supportive and reliable.
And we return to the physical plane. Your body is now stretched out along the bench, half sitting, half lying, and then wrapped in a soft blanket that has somehow appeared.
Which provides this comforting pressure. That's not just a nice detail, is it?
No, it's applying a proven therapeutic technique.
You're talking about deep pressure stimulation, right? The feeling of being held or grounded.
Precisely. Deep pressure touch is scientifically proven to calm the nervous system, lower the heart rate, and release neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine.
And the fact that the blanket just appears removes your responsibility for seeking comfort.
It simply manifests because the train cares for you. It's a literal manifestation of safety.
The outro scenery then takes over as the final stage of wakefulness. We shift from the city blur to the open countryside.
Dark fields in moonlight, silhouettes of hills, an occasional house with a single firefly-like lamp.
A calm river mirroring the sky.
This represents the final retreat from human complexity. The visuals are sparse, peaceful, predictable. Your mind has less to process.
And the purpose of watching is now framed specifically. Watching the images blur as your eyelids grow heavier.
Blinking slower and slower. Each blink becomes a rehearsal for sleep.
So the action of blinking is repurposed. It's not about staying awake anymore. It's about preparing the system for shutdown.
And the train's rhythm, the hum and sway, is now fully integrated as a definitive lullaby. The nervous system recognizes this as ultimate safety.
Which means the vigilant system can finally be deactivated.
We've established trust. Because the rhythm is constant and predictable, the brain can step away from its monitoring duties.
And this leads to the core permission of the entire journey. The purpose of the journey is not to arrive anywhere. The destination is irrelevant. The purpose is just to give yourself space to drift.
It's decoupling effort from outcome.
How so?
The anxiety around sleep often comes from the perceived need to fall asleep. The more you try, the less likely it is to happen. By making the purpose of the journey itself, the script removes the performance pressure.
And then the final mental cues are about closing the doors on that lingering cognitive noise.
Breathing out slower, feeling your body sink deeper. With each exhale, another quiet door swings shut in your mind, closing out the noise of the day.
Unfinished messages, notifications, headlines.
The metaphor of the swinging door is so effective. It gives your brain a discrete, imagined action for releasing complex information. It's not just forgetting, it's organized storage.
But inevitably, a stray thought will pop up.
Of course.
And the instruction for managing those thoughts is equally tactical. Thoughts are watched as small towns glimpsed from the train scene for an instant, then gone.
No need to stop.
It's classic non-attachment. It's a meditative technique applied directly to the visualization.
The script gives the thought agency. It's a small town, but immediately reinforces your separation from it. You glide by, you don't engage, the train maintains the momentum.
And the thought is just lost behind you.
And the sensory feedback loop closes here with the most profound shift in physical perception. Gravity is no longer an invisible force you fight against.
It feels like a warm hand holding the body.
Ensuring no effort is needed to stay put. This is a critical psychological and physiological instruction.
We spend all day exerting these tiny, continuous efforts just to counteract gravity.
To maintain posture, vigilance, readiness. It drains us. By reframing gravity as a warm hand, the visualization gives you explicit permission to relax every single muscle group involved in being on guard.
And finally, the ultimate surrender. The mind is allowed to switch off the bright, buzzing screen of awareness.
That screen metaphor, used again, is so powerful for us now. It equates the overactive mind with a digital machine you can consciously power down.
And the final reassurance is the most vital piece.
Yes. A deep, quiet part of the self remains safely in charge, allowing the rest of you to be completely free to let go.
It resolves that deep, primal fear of losing control during unconsciousness. You have a designated guardian.
And the scenery fades from clear shapes to colors, then to shadows, then to a soft, velvety darkness, a blanket for the thoughts. The responsibility has been completely transferred. The journey continues, steadily, lovingly, on a track laid through the quietest parts of your imagination. #outro. So what does this all mean when we distill it? What we've seen is that effective sleep visualization it's a highly sophisticated form of applied psychology.
It really is.
It relies on 4 integrated pillars: Structured progressive relaxation, the systematic sensory deprivation of stressful cues,
Rhythmic auditory anchors that activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
and these compelling, modern metaphors for effortlessness and safety.
It feels like a narrative that's designed for modern executive function failure. The synchronization of the story with our physiological needs is masterful.
Every single detail, from the golden light that won't suppress melatonin to the sound of the slow water trickle, it's all designed to downregulate the nervous system and manage cognitive load.
By providing non-demanding, predictable sensory input.
The ultimate trick, though, is the psychological permission the script grants. It's the license to stop monitoring, analyzing, and self-regulating.
The train literally takes over the job of being on.
Exactly. By externalizing the effort, the direction, the safety, the movement, the visualization resolves that chronic inner conflict between the need to rest and the primal need to remain vigilant.
It hijacks the mechanisms of anxiety and turns them into mechanisms of comfort. The predictable motion, the safe environment, the absence of demand.
All of these things confirm to the primitive brain that the environment is secure and therefore it is safe to shut down.
We spent a lot of time analyzing how the script facilitates that surrender to gravity, describing it as a warm hand holding you in place. And this realization about gravity and effort is so profound because you realize how much energy we expend all day maintaining that hypervigilance.
The tension in the shoulders, the tightness in the jaw.
We fight gravity constantly, even when we think we're relaxed.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to consider as you finish this deep dive.
If the ultimate surrender involves acknowledging the constant support of the world around you, how can you practice allowing gravity to support you even during the day? We want you to challenge that subtle, continuous effort we all exert to hold ourselves upright and vigilant. While you're sitting in a meeting, while you're standing in line, even just driving.
Can you consciously allow your shoulders to drop, your jaw to unclench, and your body to just sink into the chair, letting gravity take over?
Acknowledge that inherent, reliable support that is always there.
It's a small psychological and physical shift, but practicing that surrender long before you step onto the imaginary midnight train, well, it might just quiet the tracks entirely.